Hello, my loves. Welcome back. And if you're new to the channel, I am Johanna Burkhardt. I am the soul shaman. Um, and we are about to do November's energy update. Now, to understand how these are read, I am reading the energetic flow of what the crystalline energy, the plasma energies, all the things that are activating, all the key codes. I am reading that flow of what is going to be brought forth. Now, for each person individually, this is going to show up differently. It can show up at a lower level or more extreme. It can show up and be mirrored through multiple aspects. So it can be showing up in your relationships, in your finances, in your business, in your place of employment, in your family. All of those things, all of those aspects of our reality are there to be mirrors for what's happening internally. So when I do these energy updates, what I am doing is I'm reading the harmonic flow for the month, for the energy that we are going to be stepping into, or and honestly are really already stepping into. The day I'm recording this is the day after the full moon, the new moon. So I just want you to understand that. So this is just the structure of how the energy is going to flow this month. When I tuned in for the overall energy for the month, I was really not surprised. It was really about the power of our presence, right? In the month of November, we have the 1111 gateway, and 11 is a master number. And almost always, right? Almost always when somebody is waking up or going through the beginning stages of their awakening, they see the number 11, 1111 on the clock, right? 1111 on their receipts, whatever, 1111 on license plate, however it shows up for you. But 1111 seems to be the main number that shows up in the very beginning. And that's because we are coming into a new awareness. We are becoming more present to the energy in the now moment, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't notice those synchronistic events or numbers that are shown. We have to be very present in the moment to see those things. So the overall energy was really about the power of presence. And we're really coming out of a stage of grief, that stage of letting go of those parts and pieces of ourselves in the first part of the month that aren't serving, right? And again, this comes back to like the very beginning of an awakening where we have the awareness of the illusion. We have the awareness of the things that are no longer serving us or that we no longer believe in. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we have adopted a new belief or we adopted a new way of being, only that we have come into the awareness that this is no longer serving me. This version or identity that I have claimed, that I have been living in, is no longer who I am. And so just as with any physical death or loss, or even a move, right? Any big transformational event in our life, there is a stage of grief that we move through. And this is no different if you're not newly awakened, if you've been on the path for a while like me, if you've been going through this process. Each new level, if you will, if we want to speak linearly in the 3D kind of language, whatever level, right, you currently are in order to up level, right, or ascend or get to that next state of consciousness, we have to shed. We have to let go of the old identity. We have to let go of what's not serving us, right? We have to allow it to fall away. And in that process, we grieve ourselves. We grieve our relationships. We grieve our projects. We grieve lots of things, honestly. There's a lot of energy coming into the room right now. And so I want you to be mindful of what you are experiencing in your body through this transmission for November's energy. Just really be with yourself and listen to my voice. You don't necessarily have to watch me. So this month is about coming into union, right? It's about coming in, beginning the process of coming into union with all parts and pieces of ourselves. And before we get further into the second half of the month and really breaking down the energies, I want to invite you to hit the subscribe button and click it twice, click that little bell twice so that you get notified when I am live or when new videos have been uploaded. I am doing my best to start coming live more to my YouTube community, bringing forth silent transmissions and new teachings. So this is going to begin to happen more frequently. So I really want you to be able to get notified as soon as something great is shared with you. So take a moment, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and that would be so amazing, and I would be so appreciative. Okay, so the first part of the month is really about that commitment, right? It's really about, I feel like almost like this new moon energy is really setting the tone for the month of November. It's like you're proclaiming that, yes, I am choosing, right? I am making a choice to evolve. I am making a choice to commit to myself, to my journey, to stepping into my power, to manifesting the desired reality that you want to see, right? It's your proclamation. It's saying, I am committed to this journey. I'm committed to myself. And that's powerful, right? The second half of the month is where we're coming out of that transformation that's happening in November, right? It's the reward for your commitment. And this is where we're starting to see that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's us seeing clearly our abilities, our opportunities, how powerful we are, how much we should be trusting ourselves, how bright our future actually is. The second half of the month is really about everything coming into, or the beginning stages, I should say, of things coming into fruition. Really seeing that internal power radiating from your being. But in order to get to that pot of gold, right? In order to find it at the end of that rainbow, there's going to be a little bit of storminess, a little bit that we've got to go through. And what I want to tell you is it doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to be like that. It really can be a graceful experience. It doesn't mean that it won't have uncomfortable moments, right? We are in very intense energy right now. The month of October, it really started in September, to be honest. About mid-September it began. October October is when it really started to get intense. November, it's still going to be a little intense, but it's going to start dwindling down. And December is going to be about coming into our new skin and getting comfortable with it, right? Like when you're learning to ride a bike in the beginning, you're like still a little uneasy, and you're still feeling like you're not sure of yourself completely, right? You're not in 100% knowing. And by the end of December, coming into January, you're like, oh, I got this, right? You've been practicing it, you've been committed, and you've been embodying these things, and it becomes second nature to you. And then you're just rocking it, right? So what you do from this moment on through November and December is really going to be important for your 2020 journey. And I cannot say that enough, right? Your commitment to your transformation is what's going to change your reality. Nothing else. It's going to be that commitment to doing the work and showing up for yourself that's going to change everything, right? And 2020 is about that clear sight. So it's really important for us to tune in and show up and pay attention at this point, if you haven't been so far, right? And I know so many of you have been, but if you haven't, that now is your chance. Now is your opportunity. Okay. So in the beginning of November, it makes total sense, but you're going to feel, there's a possibility for you to feel that you are being blocked, that you are being denied. Or almost like, why isn't it happening fast enough, right? Why aren't the seeds that I just planted in this new moon energy of October, why aren't they showing signs of life? Why do I feel like I'm being denied? Why is this not available to me? And it really is an illusion or a pause, if you will, saying it's not that it's not going to happen, but we need you to shift your understanding and we need you to shift your energy into the purpose behind those things that you are trying to manifest, behind the life that you are trying to create. What is the purpose behind your actions? And understanding that when you appreciate what you have in the now moment, right? When you shift your conscious reality to see that you are abundant, right? Not seeing the lack, instead seeing the abundant in any situation. And this is the key here, okay? So oftentimes when our desires, the things that we are trying to call into our life are not showing up, when they're not manifesting into form, we focus on the fact that they're not here yet. We focus on the fact that it's not happening in front of you, that you're not seeing it, that it's not coming, right? But we focus so much on the lack of the manifestation, the lack of the transformation, the lack of the things, that we actually create more lack in our reality. So when you shift that energy from, oh my gosh, this isn't manifesting, I don't see signs of life, I'm so pumped, I'm so ready to have these things, but that's not happening, why isn't it happening? When we shift that fear, that anxious, distrusting energy, right? I always say anxiety means two things. You're not trusting, or you're overwhelmed because you have lack of boundaries. So when you're feeling that desperate, anxious energy, it's a call to action. It's a call for self-love. It's a call to breathe. It's a call to come back to the now moment, come back to the present, right? To stop and smell the roses. To look at your beautiful rose plant and say, even though only one is showing life, that I'm only seeing a little bit of life here, I'm going to bring all of my awareness, all of my energy into appreciating this one rose, this one sign of life, this beauty. I'm not going to focus on how the lack of fullness of the plant, the fact that the rest of the roses are not coming in. I'm going to focus all on the one single rose. I'm going to smell it. I'm going to touch it. I'm going to appreciate its color. I'm going to appreciate its life. And you can do this with anything, right? Whether it's $1 or if it is the small things in your home, if it's the sunset or a sunrise, right? If it's a kind gesture, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Appreciating the food that you have, right? The time that you have, the connections, finding the things in the now moment, in the reality, this moment reality that are here, that are abundant. What you appreciate, appreciates. It's almost like a test, right? To say, okay, if you don't appreciate what you have now, What says that you will appreciate when all else manifests? Or will you still see only the lack of what isn't showing up for you? And that's huge. That's huge for a lot of people. So again, following that energy of the power of presence, we're being asked to go within. We're being asked in the first half of this month to really continue going within, because this isn't like a new thing, right? If you have experienced any of the energy of September or October, you know that there are some serious things that have been coming up, that have been uprooted, right? Some serious weeds have been pulled up from 3 layers down and are now at the surface of your garden saying, look at me, I'm here, right? Things that you thought were dead and gone, things that you thought you healed, things that you're like, why is this coming up again? And we're going to get into that too. But I want to talk about what going within means, because I'm going to probably do another video on this, but just really quick, when we say go within, that means stop looking externally. When I go within, right, when I meditate, when I take that time to connect with myself, it isn't with a transmission. It isn't with a guided meditation. Not that I don't do those, not that I don't think that there's a place for them, because there is. I record them all the time. But I take that time I put these honking lawnmower headphones on, external, to block my ears. And I put an eye mask on to block any kind of light. And I do it in a space that I have created, a sacred space, a space where I feel safe, where I feel comfortable, where I can just allow my body to fully relax. And I sit in the darkness. I sit in the darkness with the intention of connecting with myself, with my body, which is your unconscious part of you, with my heart, and my emotions, which is the subconscious part of you, your inner children, your identity, and my higher self. It is a time of bringing all parts of pieces of me and just sitting there and knowing that whatever is meant to show up will show up. Whatever I'm meant to see, I will see. Whatever I'm meant to feel, I will feel. But I spend that time breathing, feeling, connecting into my body, into my essence, right? I'm not looking outside for validation. I'm not looking for a being to show up and tell me what is happening. I am allowing my energy internally to be my guide. I'm allowing my light to guide me. So this is what they're wanting you guys to do, right? And me as well, but going within, continuing to go within, and allowing yourself to be present with what's coming up for you. Because here's the thing, and this has been showing up for a lot of the collective that I tune into, and a lot of the community, my tribe that follow and work with me. And it's part of what we're doing in the Soul Flow experience that is currently running right now. And that is the inner conflict. So I want you to listen to this. For a long time, I have blocked my ability to manifest. And the reason I couldn't figure out the problem was because consciously, right, in my mind, and even with my subconscious, right, my inner children, my ego, I believe I am worthy. I know I am worthy. Let me say that. I know consciously and logically that I am worthy. I know what I bring to the table. I know how potent and powerful my work is. I know who I am. I know what my mission is. So of course, I am worthy. I am enough, right? There should be no reason why I am not calling in continuously tons of clients, tons of money, and all my dreams coming to reality. And I got really frustrated over the summer. Like, why is this not working? There is something missing. And I had to make the connection that I was separating the conscious mind, right, your mindset, and the inner child work, even with my body. I was disconnecting it from my body. And what was revealed to me was, if your body is holding a cellular memory, it doesn't even have to be of this life. It could be of another life that's running parallel, right? Or what we call past lives. It could be something that was genetically brought into your cellular memory from any of the 7 ancestors that preceded you. And whatever they didn't heal is passed through the mother into you. It could be any of those things. And what I discovered was, even though even though I knew I was worthy and I know that I'm enough, when I would take an action, when I would put myself out there, when I would create an offering, when I would go to connect with a person or pick up the phone to have a conversation or take whatever action, my body was saying something different. My body was clenching. My body was feeling this vulnerability, this fear. But in my mind, I was like, this is ridiculous. Everything's great. But my body was telling me something different. And through the work that I'm doing in the soul flow experience, right, that I'm leading these women through, I do a lot of channeling. Most of my courses where I have an outline are channeled. And so as I'm preparing for a class, I am bringing forth all this information, and I hear the vibration that communicates with the universal flow, right? With the source of all that is, with your desires, with everything that's out there, right? That connection with the universe isn't about the thoughts that you think. And while it does have something to do with the emotions that you feel, it goes deeper than that. Your cells are what is communicating with the flow of all that is. And so let me break this down to you even more. If you are telling yourself that you are worthy and you think that you are worthy, but in your body, deep in your cells, your body is telling you something different. If there is a belief, right, a fear embedded into your cells that is contradictory to what your knowing is, you have inner conflict. And this happens a lot with people who get PTSD, right? So they consciously know that they're not in a state of trauma. They consciously know that that situation is not happening. But their body is in fight, flight, or freeze. Their body is saying, no, I don't really believe that. I don't feel safe. So your body continues to communicate with the universal flow and continues to bring you situations that show you a patterning that needs an awareness. This is a call to bring the unconscious conscious. And this is why November is about moving into union, right? Moving into union with all parts and pieces of yourself. It's not about just the inner children. It's not about just working on your mindset or allowing your emotions to be seen. It's about connecting all parts and pieces of ourselves, right? It's about deep. This is deep work we're doing in November. When we do this work, when we step into that awareness, right, we become our own healer. We become our own healer. We become the alchemist. We see how powerful we are. And it's a beautiful thing. It really is. It's so beautiful. You become that person that listens to the trigger or the flag in your body and begins to transition and connect in those patterns and brings all of your body, your inner children, your ego, your knowing all together into union, into balance, right? And that's what's happening. We've lived so long in the masculine energy. Now we're moving into, right? We've switched into that divine feminine for the first time in our human existence of this current life. And so we've kind of switched, and it's about finding that balance between the two. It's also about finding the balance within ourselves, right? not just listening to our mind, not just listening to our heart and our emotions, but also bringing the body into it, bringing this beautiful flow. And that's the beautiful part, is just like the cycles, right? Just like the cycles of the moon or the cycles of the season, we need to see the cycles within us. We need to see the patterning, because the key thing is we're never releasing a pattern. We're never releasing a belief. We're never releasing anything. We are transitioning it, transforming it, right? Alchemizing it. Energy is not created, is not destroyed. It can only change form. And so we are always replacing it with something else, right? That is the evolutionary cycle, right? That is the beautiful thing. That is what we are doing in November. So when you spend that time this month going within, connecting those dots, right? Feeling deeply into your body. What is your mind telling you that your body's disagreeing with? Can you find that? Can you make that connection? And can you allow that part of your body to be felt, to be seen, to be heard, so that you can reprogram it, right? And I know a lot of you are probably saying, how the hell do I do that? How the hell do I do that? Well, that is what I do. So if you need assistance, you can always go to my website, johannaburkhardt.com. You can schedule a session with me. We can really get to the root of whatever the limiting thing is. And what I do is show you, right, how to do this for yourself, right? I walk you through the process so that you can do it for yourself. I help you become the healer, the goddess or God that you are, okay? So if that calls to you, reach out to me. Now, by the end of this month, doing this process, which I'm gonna go into a few things that you can do to help yourself. By the end of this process, you will see that healer, that magician, that alchemist in the mirror. You will see that your outer reality is a true reflection of what's happening at a cellular level in your body, right? So often in today's age, it's all about, and I'm no different from this, right? It's all about the higher dimensions, raising your vibration. It's all about connecting to all these beings. That's wonderful, right? I love working with the Council of Light. I love working with Kuan Yin. I love working with the Pleiadians, all of these different beings. But they're not here to tell you what's true for you. They are here to guide you back to the shore of your truth. And when we go into those higher states of being to escape the conscious reality that is happening, then we step into an addiction or an escapism, because we don't want to feel. We're not in our body. And grounding, the true meaning of grounding is bringing that higher consciousness, that higher level connection, that remembrance of all that is, and anchoring it into this vessel, into your body, into your cells, right? Replacing the cellular memory that isn't serving, that's been programmed or passed down, with the higher knowing. And that means that you have to be in your body. That means you have to be connecting those dots of what's happening in my reality that is different, what's happening in my body that is different than what's going on in my mind. Okay? I just realized I didn't have my mic hooked up, so I hope my sound is okay. I'm just gonna roll with it. So by the end of the month, as you move through this, choosing in every moment to commit to yourself, choosing in every moment to be the god or goddess that you are, to connect and feel in your body, right? Not just being aware of the emotion, feeling where it lives in your body. Communicating with that part of you and bringing all the parts and pieces of you into union, something beautiful is going to happen. You will step into a new level of confidence. You will step into a trusting intuitive being of light. You will be that person that is, the skin has shed, right? It's like getting they're showing me getting a facial, right? A peel or whatever people do. And it's like they took all this dead, cracked, exhausted skin off of their face, and now they've just left with this smooth, radiant, glowing energy. That's what's going to happen. You will be fresh. You will be glowing. You will feel energized. You will just feel this new life. You will be the star. You will know your power. You will have immense clarity on how to move forward, what you're walking towards, right? What your end goal is, but still allowing yourself to be present and enjoying every step you take on the path to the destination that you're trying to get to. You'll switch from being so focused on when is that going to be here now to enjoying the journey and understanding that the present moment is where the power is. The present moment is our God, Goddess energy. And being there and seeing things begin to come into fruition rapidly. So how can we move through this energy with grace and ease? How can we do that? So we want to remember to have appreciation and focus on the good that is happening now, but also focusing on how good it will feel, focusing on how beautiful the reality will be once the storm passes, right? You can't have the rainbow without the rain. So when you're going through it, when you're in those uncomfortable spaces, when you're feeling like you want to escape, when you're feeling like you don't want to do the work, when you're feeling like this is just too much, I can't handle it, we take a pause and we breathe and we say, every time there's transformation, something beautiful happens. Every time there is a storm, the sun shines again, a rainbow appears, right? The caterpillar essentially dies to become the butterfly. It has to go through basically turns back into goo. It has to go in through a messy experience to be able to transform and thrive and fly and be vibrant, right? The snake has to allow for the skin to loosen, and then it wiggles its way out slowly, right? It's not a fast process. So we have to look at the evolutionary cycles of our other environments, of our seasons, of the trees, of the snakes, of the butterflies, and be reminded that what will happen at the end will be worth it. The journey is worth it, right? My big thing is there's always purpose behind your pain. What you are going through today is going to create something amazing. And you will look back and be like, yeah, that sucked, but it was totally worth it because I wouldn't be where I am today. So in those moments where you're struggling, come to the present moment, right? Remember, this whole month is about presence. Be present. Find something to appreciate in the now moment, right? To bring all your focus to that beauty. And then also remind yourself and focus on the fact that there can't be a butterfly without a caterpillar dying and transforming, right? There can't be a rainbow until the rain passes and the sun shines once again. The other thing that they are asking us to do, which is no surprise since the whole month is about presence, is being and standing in your full awareness, right? Being at present, being aware of what's happening in that present. So something that I teach, the the very first stage of really anything is awareness. Before we can even choose to forgive or liberate ourselves from victim, we have to be aware of what we're doing, of what we're liberating ourselves from, of what's happening, right? So spend less time this month if you're new to being present and aware. Practice giving whatever it is you're doing or whoever it is you're speaking to all of your attention. All of it. Being mindful of their body movements, of what's happening internally in your body, hearing on a deeply level what they're saying, and not be trying to fix, not trying to come up with your comeback, just being in the moment and fully appreciating, hearing, seeing, experiencing whatever it is that you are giving your attention to. That is presence. Presence is fully, on all levels, being in the now moment and being aware of those connections, right? Of whenever I experience this, I feel this, connecting those patterns, right? So really being mindful of that. And then learning to sit with yourself, learning to have hold space for yourself, which is what grace is. Learning to allow yourself to accept the current reality, not trying to fix again, not trying to distract, not trying to do any of those things. And I did get a warning that a lot of people are going to want to plow through the healing. They're going to want to escape and distract or avoid these things. And the warning is when you enter into that type of resistance, right? When you feel like you have to plow through something, when you feel like you have to pull up your big girl panties and just do it, right? Even though you don't feel like it or you know better. Or you want to just, instead of allowing yourself to sit with that part of yourself, you want to just plow through it and be like, yeah, got it, whatever. I understand it up here. But because you haven't allowed yourself to be, to lean back, to give yourself that time, to be with yourself, to love yourself, to accept yourself, to hear yourself, to see yourself, you're just creating resistance. And if you're in resistance to anything, you are in resistance to everything. Because remember, the resistance is coming from a cellular level. And that resistance is what's speaking to the universal flow. So when you catch yourself in that resistance, reset, breathe, come back to the now moment, and start again. It's never too late. You can always start again. Allow for the lesson, the wisdom to show itself, okay? So I'm going to end with, I pulled a goddess card before, actually 2 goddess cards before I went live to really get the theme of the feminine energy that we were working with. And it really is about learning to self-parent. It's really about learning to love yourself, to be the mother, to be the father, to be all the things that you are seeking validation from, to finding it within ourselves. So the 2 cards that came up were the Lady of the Beasts. And if you see the moon cycles, and that almost it's coming into a infinite symbol, and you see all the different versions, right? All the animals, and then you see that she's pregnant, right? So she's getting close to birth, right? But she's also embracing the lower self, or what some like to call the animal self, which is the body, right? Because the body is very primitive. Right? And these are all different aspects of her, right? The bear represents something, the horse represents something, all of it represents something, right? And then the white dove, the freedom, the higher self. So she is embracing all parts of herself, right? She's embracing all parts of herself. And then, of course, we have Lady Isis, Goddess Isis. And there, see, the baby has been born, right? Beginning of the month, we're pregnant. We are going through that growth period, right? There's something new growing within us. We're connecting to all parts of ourselves. And at the end of the month, we give birth to the new version of ourselves, the higher conscious, more aware, more loving version of ourselves. We've shed, we've given birth. Isn't that beautiful? And she also represents the mother energy, right? The mother, the maiden, and the crone. I work very closely with Isis a lot, especially in the like 2 years ago when I was doing a lot of my healing work. And so this is about her embracing, accepting that new version of her, coddling it, loving herself, loving that new place, that new version. But what I want to read to you is this beautiful poem or invocation, however you want to call it, for the Lady of the Beast. I'm actually going to be reading it to you. And this really embodies what we're doing over the month of November. And so remember, this may show up depending on your chart, on your blueprint, on your matrix. It may show up differently. It may show up in your relationships. It may show up in your finances. It may show up in your business or in your work environment. It may show up in your friendships. It may show up in your family. All of those things, again, are mirrors for what's happening internally and how you are best going to recognize it externally. So being present and being aware of what in your life is being mirrored back to you is going to be an easy way of guiding yourself, of seeing, oh my God, I'm seeing this for a reason. Oh my God, I'm experiencing this for a reason. Right? It's just not happening because someone's an asshole. It's not just happening because you have accumulated a crap load of karma, right? Or whatever the story is that you're telling yourself. It's being a mirror. It's saying, I'm going to show up over here because you're going to pay more attention to the money. I'm going to show up over here because you're going to pay more attention to your significant other, or you're going to pay more attention to your business. So I'm going to show up where you're giving most of your attention. Okay. But the transformation, the flow of what I've been speaking about is going to happen regardless. Okay. It may be mild for you, or it may be extreme. Don't judge your journey based upon another's, right? Allow your journey to be your journey. Allow yourself to experience whatever is right for you, not comparing yourself to what someone else is going through, okay? Everybody goes through exactly what they need to go through. So take a deep breath. Two more times. And last. Close your eyes and listen to these words. I desire union in ways comfortable and appropriate. I open to the dance with another, knowing that it will take me to all the places I fear. Listen to these words. I desire union in ways comfortable and appropriate. I open to the dance with another, knowing that it will take me to all the places I fear, some of the places I love, many of the places that need healing. I listen with the ears of my heart and communicate from a place of self-knowing. I consciously give myself away and know how to take myself back. I see myself reflected so perfectly in the other that I begin my most important journey to seek out and claim more of who I am. And with that, I say, Namaste.